Okay, so now we're going to take a look at a nice feature in CommonSpot we refer to as vanity URLs. So what vanity URLs are is a means by which you can register a URL different from the actual page URL. And when somebody tries to access this registered URL that you create, it will redirect the person directly to the particular page for which that URL is associated. And so what's really nice about that is if you're doing something, for example, like a marketing campaign, maybe you're doing something in print, so it's not a matter of somebody just clicking on a link and maybe the length doesn't matter so much. But if it's in print, for example, you might want to have a shortened version of a URL to make it easier for somebody to type in. You can also use URLs maybe that have words in them that are associated with your marketing campaign that might be meaningful to somebody that would make the URL memorable, for example. So there's a lot of reasons why these vanity URLs are helpful. The other thing that these vanity URLs help with is search engines. That can help with search engine optimization. It can also help tell a search engine, for example, if you permanently moved a page, so maybe you've done a redesign of your site and you've moved things around and the search engine still has the old URL in their index. This would tell the search engine, hey, we've moved this page to, this is the new location. You can tell the search engine if it's permanently moved or if it's temporarily moved, etc. So it's a very useful feature. Now, the way these vanity URLs are implemented from a technical standpoint is on your CommonSpot site, you need to implement what's called a 404 handler. And essentially what that is that's the page that's going to get control whenever somebody types in a URL that doesn't exist on your website. And so that generates the 404 page not found error normally. However, because this is Cold Fusion, you can have that 404 handler have some logic in it, and this logic in there is going to be what actually takes care of doing the redirect for you. So let's take a look at these vanity URLs. So there's a dialog that you enter into, and it's going to ask you the URL of where you want to direct from. So you would enter in the URL that would actually be the shortened URL that you want to use. So this would be where you would put your friendly URL in here, and then you would tell CommonSpot the reason for the redirect. And this is the dialog where you can actually then select whether it's like a temporary redirect or permanent redirect. So let's take a look at how you actually do this then. Okay, so what I've got here is I've got this page, and you can see the URL is /features/improved results using analytics.cfm. So that's a fairly long URL to have to type in, for example. So what I'm going to do is go into work on this page. Okay, so now I'm in the editor here, and I'm going to go into manage, and I'm going to go to URLs. Okay, so this brings up the URLs that are associated with this particular page, and you can see here that there's not currently anything associated with it. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the Add Page URL to bring up this dialog that we just saw in the presentation here a minute ago. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in here my website, and then I'm going to put in, actually, it's a server relative. Let me put in analytics, so just analytics.cfm. And then this is where you tell CommonSpot the reason for the redirect. So you can see here, I can say that this is a permanent vanity URL. In other words, it's going to remain in effect, or it's a temporary vanity URL, or it's a legacy URL. So you can choose either one of these. These last two options here are meaningful to the search engines. I'm going to just go ahead and put in legacy URL and redirect from a shorter URL. And notice that you can put an expiration date on there. If you put an expiration date, it's going to automatically stop functioning on that date. I'm going to go ahead and just hit save here. Okay, so now we have this URL the /analytics.cfm. So let's see if that functions the way that we would expect that to. So I'm going to open up a new tab here and say analytics. And you can see here, just putting in analytics.cfm redirected us to this features/improve results using analytics.cfm. So we were able to create a much shorter URL and have it automatically redirect to this page. So this is a really useful feature. If you're not using it on your site today, it might be something that you consider using for various reasons, like helping with search engines and marketing and whatnot. Now you can also come into the site admin here, and there's a dialog in here where you can see what all have been defined for these vanity URLs. So if I just want to know, like site-wide, for example, what vanity URLs I have, I can come in here and I can find that. And so the way you do that is you come into the site admin and you click on utilities, and then you click on manage URL redirects. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. And you can see here, these are the redirects that we currently have defined on this site. So at this point, I could come in here, I could click on the pencil, for example, and I could change this to be a different redirect URL. So I could change this to, something completely different, and that then would, in effect, automatically redirect to the longer URL, which is denoted here. So you notice also I could come in here and I could delete a redirect as well. So that's vanity URLs in CommonSpot. Again, it's a really nice feature. If you haven't used it on your site, might be something that you'll find pretty useful depending on types of things that you might have going on where you could use such things as these shorter URLs.